Alright, hi and welcome to Gramercy. So after last time, I know for the time lapse it was a little fast, so I figured, you know what, this time I'm just going to get it over with, so here it is, even faster. I hope you guys can follow along. It's a little tricky, but I don't understand why you guys really everybody thought that I really needed to make it even quicker. No, I'm not just kidding, this is actually footage that I didn't save. So here we go into the actual time lapse, which is hopefully a more comfortable speed. So as you saw in the really super fast one, I think, which is actually a little preview, I guess, I really wanted to fill in some of these big blank areas that we had in the Navyyard area. So I just went and grabbed these buildings and tried to kind of really squeeze them into fit. And I keep going back and forth between them just because I want to figure out which would be the best fit and make it look like the roads were designed around it. Ended up settling on something a little bit like this with them kind of right up against each other. And I think it looks really good just together. So we go and grab some warehouses now. Let's stick that into position and just duplicate it and line it all up, and nice. So now we can just drag a road across here to make it look like entrances to the parking lot, and we can start playing around with the curbs to try to get new ones, to try to get some parking. Sorry about that. I actually downloaded a whole bunch of new curbs. The King Leno pack is fresh and improved, so it's nicer than the ones I used to have, which is definitely nice. So I go and look for some bollards just to make sure that nobody tries to ramp those stairs in their car. And I figure we can go and grab some of that nice nautical chain fence or whatever to really kind of complete the look of this place. Stick some more little planters and curbs over there. I want to leave a gap so you can kind of walk between them to get to your car. Not quite even, unfortunately. It's close enough, I guess. So I go through and add some privets and things, and I got this cool bike shelter as well. I figured it's a new and fresh kind of area of the city, so let's throw in a bike shelter because we're very eco-friendly. Some more bollards to make sure no one goes plowing their car right into the entrance, and now it's time for parking, which of course is slightly too wide. So I grab these 1x1 parking decals and stick them through. I know it's really not efficient, but with these new parking decals, I can really just place the single one. And now I go through and make some little no parking stripes. I imagine this is kind of being like a furniture store, mostly because I think it says furniture store on it. But just a couple lines here. And unfortunately, I don't have a super short white one, so I have to use the bike line, which is a completely different weight. But I think it looks good enough. So, sorry, off on a tangent. Just because I think it's a former furniture store, I figured I could leave some extra wide space for people carrying stuff. So I go and just place some more curves and really kind of get creative. The new updated ones have kind of the grass sections higher, so it covers the rest. So you can really combine these. Then I figure it's time to go and make some parallel parking, which weird to do, but it's like a tight lot. So I figured parallel parking is probably fine. So I quickly go and move it and start placing these in to kind of provide more of a barrier. And over here we can do some slightly more traditional parking before we go and start grabbing some more fence just to fence off that weird little entrance there, and planting some nice little privet trees to make it look like some young stuff. And I figure over here by the truck loading dock we'll stick some bushes, so just need to find a small one, just so we can make it look like maybe a truck smashed into a tree and they had to replace it. So now we can load in some cars. Figure we can go for a Lamborghini and some other cool cars here and really pack it in, and it looks great. So just grabbing a truck trailer, sticking it up against the side over here, some more bollards and things just to prevent the trucks from driving into this old building, and we can throw some pallets in just to make it look nice. So I wanted to make this look kind of industrial, but like formerly a factory, now kind of a factory store, like really kind of trendy. Over here, just a van, of course, and going for some stains and piles because maybe this section's not quite as recently done. I wanted to try something. I'm not quite sure if I like it or not, but I use these oil stains to look a little like tire tracks, a little like something. And then another little bike shelter with, I believe I stick some privet trees. Try to grab, oh no, I'm going for the small bush and end up just doing that. Also down with some bicycle props, which means we can fill these bike racks, so I stick a couple in each. And now looking under this kind of big blank area, really not quite sure what to do here. I do have these fences and things, so I quickly go and start fencing off the radar dish because I figure that would be a really bad thing for people to be able to access. Gotta make sure we get the fence the right way. And then I realized this asset is really not that nice. It's a great looking model and things, but the props just make no sense. Like random doors, so you just fence it off, and I'm trying to figure out how do I put that like bench and everything. So I grabbed the actual, the natural disasters weather station asset and stick that in there instead. And even though it's a colossal order asset, not to like rag on them, but even though they made it, it's actually really nice. It's almost workshop quality, just in terms of like poly count and a lot of the detail. So then I end up with this big extra lot to do, and I figure it's kind of a radar for the police helicopter depot, so why not do something a little police related? So I quickly go and mark out a little road on here and get to placing some cars. I'm going for scrapyard cars just because I want them to look kind of abandoned here, because this of course is an impound lot. So filling this whole place with cars, just really dense, because I'd imagine this is where they keep cars when nobody's come to pick them up. A couple taxi cabs in the back, because those can get towed as well. Trying to get a nice white van, because the other colors are awful. And we go for the regular van. And just really packing them in, trying to get all these different cars abandoned and like left for impound, and really packed Tetris in, I guess. But try to get a good variety and keep looking from far away just to make sure it looks good out there. Really cramming more and more cars in. I wish we had a few more color variants and things, but we got what we have. Looking for a tow truck now, finding a lot of towers and things, but I end up just grabbing some regular police cars and sticking them in a row here. And one on this side and one parked up, and we're good except for a guard tower, or a guard entrance. So I stick that in, kind of clip it in. A little weird in that other shed, but maybe they're built at different times. And I stick a barricade here, but realized the building was clipping, so I had to move that out of the way. And throw on some stains and some of the new decal panels, which I need to quickly go and research how they work, just to kind of break up the regular concrete texture, make it look paneled, and then start throwing some concrete or asphalt patches on, just to make it look more used and actual. So like they had to replace some stuff, big kind of strip over there, and I kind of missed slightly, so I go in real quick with a single prop and patch it off. And that looks pretty good. So going out and just deleting all those extra vans, I figured this giant patch of empty concrete could use some interesting stuff. So I got these aim triangles. I have no idea how helipads work in real life, but these were sold to me as helipad decals. So I do that, I throw some circles in, and I start looking to see if I can grab some other interesting stuff, you know, just to fill in the area. I get distracted a little bit with some breakwaters, and immediately go to just throwing some decals, seeing if I can pull off like a kind of less is more approach, because I'd imagine in real life these would be really empty for helicopters. I do find that I have a helicopter prop, so I throw some all over the place just to add some parked choppers before realizing that there are already tanks over here, so that'd be an even better fuel area. So I throw in a couple of my own tanks, throw in some piping, pipe it all the way down, and I go for my usual strategy over here of the little pipe up into electric boxes to look like little hose receptacles and things, just for filling up the helicopters. Back over here, I go and grab some containers. Just figure I've got so many things when I search container now, just because all Ivania's trucks and trailers and things. They really kind of pack these in with containers. I'd imagine that maintenance of helicopters really kind of takes a lot of parts and a lot of things. So in the back, throw some grass, throw some decals and dirt down, just to add some variation to the whole place, especially the parts where people don't go a lot. I don't want to overdo it, just because I want to make sure there's contrast for what's going to be a really dirty area across the street. But some oil stains coming out from underneath those fuel tanks, probably not good. Throw a puddle under there, not 100% sure if it sells the kind of leaky fuel vibe, I guess, but I'm looking for some sort of vehicle to show off that it's kind of slightly more industrial, maybe under repair or something. So I throw a forklift in over by some crates, and now I kind of move on to this little area where I grab some big tanks, because I figure why not? It's just an industrial sort of site, so why not a few tanks? I make sure I find the ploppable ones, and want to squeeze them into this so none of those pipes end up anywhere they shouldn't be. Throw out a couple small little tanks on each side and start piping it up. Love that little pipe across the bridge prop. So one thing I did want to do is kind of hide a lot of the vanilla trees and things that come around that the helicopter depot. So I'm trying to root pipes and things in such a way that I can either explain away the bushes or cover them up a little bit just so they're not quite as apparent. So just throw some grass down back here, throw some decals in, a pile of just stuff, I guess. So I think it's bricks or something. And already that kind of little awkward little shape has worked really well. Grab some stains and things and start getting a little extra container space. So I want to make sure this one was accessible, so I get the gate and then the chain link fence over to the corner, move some containers around because they weren't quite placed right, and just start fencing stuff off. So I think a variety of fences looks really cool, so I'm grabbing all these different fences. Then I realized it would be really hard for a truck to drop all these containers off, so I shuffle them around a little bit and begin work on this extra additional little triangle, because of course they are. So there's all these awkward little areas and things where slip roads have happened, and old places used to have facilities and stuff, so I figured this one would be kind of a little abandoned, just construction site, partly empty space, partly like improvised parking. So I kind of ruin a bunch of concrete over here and just throw a bunch of cars down in different orientations, ways, and then a bunch of dirt, a bunch of grass props and decals and things, and we try to really make it look like it's not been taken care of. So just a quick little wood fence around, because that's usually what we see around construction sites around here, so that kind of screamed construction site, and just varying it a little bit so we get slightly different textures, and we're all set. So I'm looking around now at kind of generic industrial props and settle on an excavator, and looking from far away, it looks quite nice. So now I begin to move on and start looking at the residential area. This was kind of slightly temporary, but I've actually walked down there recently and really liked the fact that a lot of this ended up kind of accurate. So they're not quite as nicely residential as this. So I go through and rebuild them all and start locking a bunch of them down to level 1. They're not all locked down. I'll probably go back through and lock down more of them just once the styles settle in and everything, and I make sure it looks about the way I want. Then I start dezoning and bulldozing selected areas. So I'm going through here and kind of making some broken teeth in this neighborhood. So instead of really big, beautiful, full walls, actually find this little stripe of houses that I really like. It looks like kind of factory housing or a big, long building all at once. But then I get in with Surface Painter and start covering up some of these areas with concrete, just because they wouldn't be nice grass, some dirt. Actually, I think I got rid of the dirt to do later. And I start kind of fencing these spots off. So this right here, I believe I accidentally cut, but you'll see it as I place it again somewhere else. But I go through and just fence this area off. It becomes like a car repair lot. Yeah, there's the cut. Unfortunately, I got my record versus not record mixed up. So I go through here and I'm trying to create more garages and things. I'm using some Rico warehouses and industrial. Really kind of fingers crossed that it doesn't disrupt the residential I have immediately next door. But I'm going through and I'm finding some more lofts and things that I downloaded, more buildings, throwing them over to the side because I would like to use them later and in different areas, especially some of these angled ones because I do have the highway and things coming around. And I go and take a look and see if I could make a big newer development look nice there, and decide maybe I could, but not that one. So I'm expecting all sorts of assets here and seeing if I can find anything interesting that could be unique. Just go and grab that one, fence off the alleyway a little bit, and then fence this little courtyard or side area. And I figure it's time maybe to look into some leisure looking stuff. Just shouldn't do another yard. So I go here, place a couple of basketball hoops, and figure I should maybe try to paint my own basketball court. And I really promptly realize I have no idea what a basketball court looks like. So I go back and mistype court a bunch of times and find the vanilla one that I'm going to try to trace, and get ready for this because it's an interesting one. So I go and look, and I'm thinking, oh man, this is going to look pretty good. I've got all my little thin lines all working well, and I get ready, and it looks terrible. So I very quickly delete that all. Wish I hadn't been recording, and think, all right, so now I can kind of have an idea. Let's attempt this myself, and maybe it can look a little bit less like a kindergarten drawing. So do a quick simple square, and that's better. So that's what I stick with. You get a kind of free throw line, foul line, whatever. I don't play many sports or any sports. So looking around for more lines and things, I decide, you know what, it's high time that I ripped off some Arrowhead Junction stuff. So I go and copy the little 4-square court that we've seen and just kind of scooch it into the correct position. Then I go grab some fence, because I figure, well, a wall, that's right. So I was thinking maybe like a wall, and kind of other stuff that could be used really for a kind of improvised little exterior area. Throw in some trash cans and things, and grab some lights to make sure it looks nice. Quickly, I believe I'd go and think, yeah, that's right. So I think maybe I should try a school instead. It might look good, but I really kind of, the asset doesn't look great up close, and you get a big blank wall. So I go back and find the original one and think that I should go and try to put a school elsewhere, because I realized that I have this big residential area and I really forgot to add a lot of the amenities to it. So I go in and start looking around, like looking for churches and police stations and buildings and things I could fill these gaps with, and just kind of replace stuff. So I end up doing a police station. I look around and get distracted briefly with radio masts and things to try to figure out if I could make one of those look good. And if you look carefully, you can see some of the stuff I did when I forgot to record. I've got a couple like car repair lots. I've got a couple little pass-through areas that are like not quite alleys, but little lots that have been turned into parks and kind of sculpture garden sorts of places. So I start looking for a few more larger buildings just to break up the streetscape of these really small buildings. And I start working on something that's actually, this is the sculpture garden. So this is inspired by something I found in the East Village in Manhattan. Quickly get distracted with this cool pier that I downloaded, thinking that I need to use it later, and trust me, I will. So I'm looking around for parks and things in this little area, and eventually I settle on just saying, fine, I will do it myself. So I grab this iron fence. I tried the ploppable one, but I realized that I've been spoiled by the prop line tool, and I go through and now fence it all off and make sure that I have a walking path. So in this, I realized that, oh boy, I'm doing all this super fine detailing. I'm really used to these ultra thin paths and things, and I'm thinking of all these really nice like little walkways and things I can add weaving around statues and sculptures. And then I realized very quickly I don't have any statue assets. So that's fine. I go back and look around for different props and things, just anything I could maybe potentially use as a sculpture, anything. Grab a couple pergolas, grab a couple sheds, and kind of make a little administrative area, I guess, a couple entranceways, admin area, and then get to work just making this more of a garden than a sculpture garden. I realize that these paths end up huge, so there's definitely a lot of move it to come, kind of squeezing this in so we can get some more green space. I stick a planter in on each side over here, just some curbs and things. Now I jump in with move it and squeeze these around and really kind of try to maximize the green space as much as possible, even though I'm dealing with enormously wide sorts of paths and things. So I already have that prop in there. I very carefully kind of tease that around to make it look nice. I think that's pretty good. Try to make like a rounded rectangle sort of deal over there. I think it ends up fine. Finish it off with a couple circles. So now I jump in and start adding some trees, go into the London plane tree, which is native to New York, or at least is now existing in New York, which we'll learn more about in the live portion. And then we look around, throw some grass, throw some extra fences, and I think later I jump in and do some benches. And that's about it. So we go and I think there's a couple decals and things afterwards, but we wrap up doing this nice little walkway. So it's like a former burned down house or abandoned house that was taken down, turned into like a little private park that really, I think, would improve the neighborhood. It's inspired by the Elizabeth Street Gardens in the East Village, if you guys are interested in going out there. I throw some lanterns in to try to make it look interesting at night, and I think it really works. So I go through now and start looking for the benches, that's right, and just kind of finishing out the little area in the park. And now I go through and I've got a couple just regular boring old alleys that I need to do. So I throw in some garbage, I throw in some dumpsters, I throw in some parked cars, I believe, or some stains, and fence them all off on both ends. Because, I mean, again, there's parking here. Parking, of course, in New York or in Gramercy even, would be a pretty nice add to an apartment. When I get bored, just zone off an area and start thinking that it might be time to expand and start working on what I'm going to do in the live portion. So I go and stretch out these roads a little bit and start looking at this elevated highway, I guess. Looking out the window, there's one very close to me, and I realize it's actually not all bridged. So I start thinking about how I can make it land, I guess, and hit the ground. and not just be elevated. And I kind of stretch out more roads and start playing around with different configurations and things just to block it all out. And then I realized that I do want it elevated really at least until here. So I pull out the intersection piece right there and keep it a bridge. Just a little bit of moving to kind of finesse everything. I think I go back through and adjust the height of the bridge because it's a little low. So here now I'm starting to play around with trying to get a highway exit. And this is where I realized I kind of made a bit of an error in using that 8-lane road as a little highway stand-in. So I loop it around and I really try to make a nice looking thing here, but I see all these crosswalks and junk I don't want on this intersection and realize it's time to maybe do this properly as a highway. So I quickly go and see, the reason why I originally didn't do a highway is because even a 3-lane highway, two next to each other, was just too wide. So I go try clipping them into each other a little bit, which I know gets rid of a lot of the shoulder, and actually ends up just barely wider than the 8-lane road. I know I lose a lane in each direction, but I think it actually ends up worth it. So I redrag this as some nice 6-lane highway clipping into each other. Now is when I adjust the height because the bridge is a little low. So I pull this up and begin working on some nice exits. So originally I think, you know what, let's go for like a sort of clover loop. I can do it in an interesting compact way, fill it with a little green space, make it pretty nice, and kind of really Robert Moses my way through this by just blasting apart what would have been an old neighborhood and sticking a big highway ramp. But that's actually not what I end up doing. I just make half of a diamond interchange, put the other half somewhere else, which is something I see a lot on highways around here. And not so much in city skylines. I think most people really like doing big full interchanges and things where you can get everywhere from everywhere, but especially in older places where the highways really weren't there on construction, you don't see that a lot. So this is just a little half of a diamond. I'm abandoned my cloverleaf dreams and grab this and use Move It to make it really, really compact, which I actually like a lot. So it's really tight. It's really, to me, feels realistic. It's not, you don't get these huge sweeping curves and things in cities. I say with the huge sweeping curve on the bottom. See, the fact that I've recorded this already means that I know a secret that I very quickly and soon, get rid of it. So I go and stick that so we get a ramp all the way through and then work on that, replicating the exact same thing on this side. And with a little bit of Move It's help, we go and tuck that in nice and tight, and we get a really nice compact sort of half diamond interchange. I thought about doing the other half, but I decided I'll stick it somewhere else. It could be really interesting. I might do a bit of more of a serious interchange over closer to the bridge. So now I start looking at sort of buildings and trying to figure out what could go where. I pop that out of the way real quick so I can start laying out some loose blocks. And then realize that I need to do something funky with this road here, because once it's no longer by the highway, it can and probably should join up into a nice regular avenue, just because it would be easier to draw and it wouldn't have extra space in the middle. So I go and really kind of futz with trying to make a really nice smooth avenue connection, and end up completely ruining it and really using Move It beyond what it's meant to do. So I start over, and with a little bit of anarchy, with a little bit of trials and time, I get something that looks, fine. It's a little wonky. I might come back to it later when I do a little more building over there, but I think it looks all right. And with a little bit of quick fixing, I can get rid of those no connection lines. So now I take a look again at these buildings, and I think real quick, what if I can go and clip these two together? I know that every once in a while there's some old building that might have been some extra building. Unfortunately, they are both corner buildings the same direction, so they don't line up. So I get rid of that and think, oh, that'll be nice. It's a good fit. But of course, it would be an even better fit if I could re-angle the roads just to fit this one building asset. And I'm thinking about this like, man, I'm really ruining a lot of buildings here. I use Move It real quick to try to square off a block just so I can get things fit properly. So I actually end up redoing that road again, just getting it close to that building, and so that I can place other buildings along a regular sized block. That's about it for the time lapse. So now we are going to head into the live portion of the video. Hi everybody, and welcome to the live portion of this video, or the real-time portion. I know we had a lot of sort of small little detail progress in here for the time-lapse, but going out here we did a little bit of planning, and I'm going to fill a lot of that in today in this section. This area I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about. I think I'll probably just run the highway out here as the two highway pieces rather than the road, just so we can get cool exit ramps and everything. But that's kind of going to be another time. I don't think that road laying is particularly fun to do live. So I was planning on building these sorts of project houses in the time-lapse, but I realized I didn't have the correct assets as I was recording it. So what I did is I jumped back onto the workshop and went and found the sort of right thing I'm going for. And they're actually, in real life, they're from Manhattan. So they're going to go about here-ish. And I just went and you search them up. They are the Stuyvesant houses. In real life, these are formerly public housing projects, I guess, but they're actually sold, and I actually know some people who live in them now. They're pretty nice apartments and pretty close to where I go to school, but they're all the right shapes and all the right look, so I will use them. I'm excited to. It's a nice Rico set that really a lot of variations, and they'll fit really well, just kind of right about here. I'll probably expand this later. I don't think I'm going to do more than just one small little block, just because I don't want this to go super duper long. So I'm just going to grab these houses and look around. You know, I'm not quite sure. So there are a lot of grid elements and sort of things. I'm looking at it here on Google Maps, and it's really kind of pedestrian path-y inside. Though actually, you know, I think I'll probably use a road here, just because there is definitely car access to all these buildings and things. But if you look, it's kind of a loose grid. It's built really in on itself, and it's designed so it's kind of appears nice. There's a lot of green space in here, and ooh, no, I don't like that. I'm gonna go back and just bulldoze, and straight. Okay, that's fine. So let me just grab these houses and start placing them around. I like this one here with the kind of elevator shaft, big tall piece water tower thing in the middle. I have no idea what's actually up there, but it looks pretty cool and it's taller than the rest. So obviously these plus ones are the famous shape, but I want to stick some of these here, and actually that'd be a good corner right where I put that. Let's get rid of this. Oops. Let's get rid of that and both, and now place that right in the corner. Like that. Okay, good. So just going to keep going and planting these. I want to try to get a sort of weird kind of medium density of these, just because in real life there's a lot of this green space and everything between them, but it's obviously designed to be a fairly dense neighborhood, I guess. Like a lot of people need to live here. So that one, it doesn't line up. Let's do this with a little shorter area, because I guess less people would want to live facing the highway. And I guess put it in the middle as well. And it looks fine. So let's grab a couple more, I think. Let's do one more tall one. And yeah, I think that looks about right. So it's kind of the right sort of density. They're not quite aligned with each other. I feel like they were designed to be really natural kind of shapes and everything. And yeah, the zoning's a little messed up. But yeah, I definitely don't want this to be too dense, just because that's really kind of not realistic, and I also don't like it when they're really dense. So one thing I want to do is move them all in from the road, just to kind of provide a little more of that green space. The ones I walk near every day have the entrances set back really far from the main road, so I'm just going to kind of emulate that here by just pulling them all off the street just a little bit. They should all still work. The services will be able to reach them and everything, I guess just like real life. But going in through a lot of vanilla trees, but we could deal with those. So we got a little path that's nice, and we kind of continue around looking for doors and paths and things on other ones, because we got to figure out where we're going to run our little pedestrian paths to. So we're just going to grab them here, and man, they're wide. I always forget how wide they are. Just whenever I'm thinking of like these super fine details, I can never remember that these pedestrian paths are really so wide. So let's run that through here. I think it misses that tree, even though it clips the building. That's fine. And now we will just grab this one, and we'll kind of make some broader sorts of entrances here just to make it look a little nicer. And let's make an entrance there and just connect it across the road. And then let's grab a curve tool. Actually, yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, so that's starting to look nice. Now we're just gonna make a little path through this block here. It's definitely a lot of like interconnectivity and a lot of neat little shapes and things. Let's go and break off just a little to kind of service the entrance for that building. And let's do the little same sort of plaza here. This one's a little bigger, but it's facing a main road, so why not? So actually, weird. These are on a hill. I thought I'd like terraform more of this flat, but there's definitely a hill in the map terrain. Let's jump into here and do a little path across. Just make sure it's the right height. And good. Awesome. So a lot more plazas and things around. And now we will just cut the corner. So I feel like these things are designed to let... Oh, this is weird. What? Huh. Thought I placed... Bizarre. Okay, so going back, there we go. I feel like these are designed so you don't have to walk out to the street to walk between buildings. So just trying to kind of connect them more inside of each other. Let's stick a little plaza in. Let's go back, and I think this is actually pretty good. So over here is like a lot different, it's a lot denser. Kind of horizontally, there's a lot less green space built in. But let's put a path. But this is taller, which means I think the density is probably pretty similar. So you just cut another path in here so nobody has to walk out to the corner of the road. And now I think we're pretty good. I don't know. I keep seeing all these spaces and just thinking, like I'm picturing new ones and new little paths. And yeah, I think they're nice. So we kind of got all these little shapes, and the zoning's messed up, so we're not going to be able to really place any other buildings. But I think we're good. So here I'm just going to search for some garbage facilities. We can stick I thought these were bigger, so we can actually put one right in the middle just so it's convenient for, I guess, the people that have to take the garbage out. I hope the Rico people don't mind. That one's not really, it's like road access. It's kind of central. But we'll just stick some dumpsters in there just because I guess these buildings are pretty tall. They're going to create a lot of garbage. So just looking around, we can grab some fence. So these are definitely kind of, fences aren't in this menu. What am I talking about? Maybe we can look for just some parks. I wonder if we can cram like an actual park in here. I think they're all really big. I used to think they're all way too small because I was not really focusing on detail stuff. But now that I look at it, like even here, this one, the small playground, it's really big and like really, really spaced out. So I think I do want a playground, but I think we should make one actually. Maybe that corner there. Maybe no. Yeah, I think this corner probably makes the most sense. So swing. There we go. Let's grab high swing set. What's that one called? Swing set. Swing set, high swing set. Weird. Let's use the high one because it's got more swings. So we'll stick a couple of these here and here. And now let's grab like playground. Yeah. Okay, yeah, they've got these. And that's the seesaw and the high levels. Okay, I get it. So it's like a game level thing. Let's use that one. And I know I just said that I didn't like how spread out that was, but this is a little more spread out, but I think we'll texture it nice enough. So you can grab a play set now. I want to stick that right about there. Now this one, no, I think just, can this fit here? No, I think just one's fine. So yeah, let's pull that swing set in a little tighter. Maybe move it across to here, just over by the entrance, and this one can come in as well. We'll just swing that, get it, swing it, swing that into position. And let's move the shadows out of the way here. So yeah, it looks really good. You got that kind of play set. And I think we can kind of surround these things and try to figure out other stuff. The ruin texture is actually really nice here. So careful. It really kind of looks like a grassy swing set field. So let's just kind of paint a little more of that on. We can blend it later with other stuff. And now start looking. I know that there are other props and things So let's try to go and find some other nice stuff for this. I'm just looking around, and my comment props menu has gotten crazy. Could these work? No. All right. But yeah, I think I definitely caused a lot of that issue with all my trains and planes in that menu. But man, I've got so much stuff. I really like those walls, though. It's not really very playgroundy. All right, so let's keep going. I know you guys all came here just to watch props. And ooh, that's nice. Let's place a few. They're very, they're big. That's weird. Dog park. Interesting. You do like a water fountain out there. I forgot I had the dog park. I think that one's pretty big too. Like the playground, like big like that. So yeah, oh, there's some more tables and things. But yeah, see that? They're way smaller. Such a weird like scaling thing. They're much closer to the ones for the actual playground, but those other ones are huge. I think like the building's really big too. Who knows? It's weird. Alright, let's get rid of these and let's go for the smaller ones just 'cause I feel like we can do the whole playground at a slightly smaller scale. Let's stick those over there, and look, there's another picnic table here, and those are different too. They're like a little smaller but longer. Like a weights band or a basketball. I think I'll do it somewhere else. And of course I don't find those there. Would they be? Ooh, no. No, I'm looking in signs or billboards or industrial. Maybe in housing? Nope, not in housing. Won't be in lights. Won't be in decals. Ugh, God, won't be. I'm gonna have to go all the way back. All right. Well, I know you guys really like me browsing through menus like this, so I'll probably cut this out and jump you to when I find it. Aha! Here we go. All right. They're, of course, all the way at the front, which is a part of the menu I never look at. Oh, and there's sandboxes too. Let's stick a few of these in this round. And now we'll go for square, and we'll use a couple. Can do like, let's do that like a Tetris block of sandbox. All right, fine, cool. That works pretty well. Let's grab some fence just to kind of surround this, corral all the kids. I really like this wrought iron fence. It really reminds me a lot of the actual ones they use all over kind of New York, blocking off natural areas or like park areas, green space for anything else. So that's yeah, I really wish there was like an undo for building stuff, but we'll just delete that. I forgot that I placed that gazebo there while I was looking for these others. For the what's it called? Like the other. God, let's get the curve it. I was looking for the other playground props. There's the word. God. And let's switch to the long one just so we can avoid using extra props. And that looks really nice actually out there, like in that point. So let's cut in straight over here, and then once more you can stick some trees out there or something. And now you can just close off the end of this park here. We want to kind of keep a big wide entrance, but we want to make sure that parents like can have their kids in the field and in the playground, but aren't like running all the way out. Now I want to pull these over, kind of have a better picnic area, not on top of the playground. Now let's go and grab some bushes and trees and things. So let's get the shady bush here, and let's pull that thing down so we're not plopping too many on top of each other. And let's throw some bushes around there. And oh boy, that's some huge grass. So we can have this like weird round bush thing and stick one there. I don't know. Might get rid of that later, but who knows. Let's get some small like little scrubby pine trees and things. I'm actually looking out my window. I can pretty much see like these buildings and things. So I'm really looking out. Yeah, so it's right across the highway, and I live like here in relation to one of these, just across the highway and everything. So I'm literally looking out my window trying to figure out what to place. So it's maybe not the live oak, but let's do the regular, or the southern live. Let's do the regular live oak here. Let's get rid of that crappy vanilla tree, so we can avoid that. Let's place some more big oak trees. I see them out my window right now. And let's get some lantana around the base of these things, just to make it look pretty nice. Let's stick some in the corner. I doubt many people would like run into there anyway, so it could be a little planter, or maybe slightly overgrown, but they ended up sticking some flowers. Let's put some more red flowers. I like these a lot. These shady bushes are really nice to fill in. They come in so many great colors too. Excellent. So that little playground park area is all done now. Now, let's go and grab some nice decals. I downloaded some new falling leaves ones. I think these are the old. But you know what day I recorded this, because this morning Ronix's decal of the month for March was fallen leaves, really helpfully. But I think these are the standby fresh popcorn classics. Let's look for these new ones though. I'm interested in how they look. So you can just search Ronix here, RNYX, and you can see all this stuff I've got from all these columns, all these decals. There we go. Oh, whoa. These are they're nice. They are big decals for sure. Not quite sure if I like them. The actual leaves are huge. Ooh, oh, nice. There's an edge one. I've been wanting edge stuff for a really long time, like edged garbage and extra stuff. These are good. They're big, but I think the regular one. You can just search leaves and get both. I think I'm probably going to lean more towards the regular one just because there's a little more fine detail involved. I mean, if you look at that. Those leaves are huge compared. Look good to kind of taper the edges, though. But I mean, maybe it's because even though I'm building kind of not really strictly summer, but not specifically a season, let's stick a few more. Looking out my window, I'm seeing so many dead leaves kind of as I mean, it didn't really snow, but as the fall, like the dead fallen leaves of fall kind of reemerge in the spring and start looking gross. I'm seeing those all over the place. I'm just going to grab some grass now and alright, let's stick some because I want to kind of kill the grass where people might be walking. So we'll do like a couple paths to the back, and I want under there. And let's stick some over here too. This looks really good actually. I really love how the grass decals and things can look. Makes this whole area look a lot less nice. There's a lot of green space now to continue to finish that tiny little section of the park here. But really, if you look at a lot of them, they're just fenced off. So I'm grabbing a fence here, and it's one that I know I had. There it is. So this is very similar. Something on my walk is something I actually tweeted about earlier today. And you can just go off and grab some of this stuff, and we can fence it all off. I don't know why there's so many fences kind of around all the green space of these parks. We'll just continue. Not parks, I guess the green space in these project houses. I don't really know. I just know the ones I walk by are always like really full of litter. We'll leave an opening there, not because I'm lazy, but because I want people to be able to kind of access this. Like I know people walk their dogs. There's some dogs that live in my building that walk over here to go walk their dogs through this like little sort of half park area. But they've got that, and they have this wrought iron fence too, which I know I talked about earlier, but I really like. I think it fits really well. We end up having kind of a nice contrast in different types of fence. I don't really know why there are so many fences and things in this area in real life. I think just to like partition the spaces, maybe to prevent people from like littering or something. Let's grab this one again for the exterior fence of the whole kind of complex, and just drag this till, let's go all the way. Sure. So it's kind of a different exterior fence to the interior. I guess maybe just solid. Maybe it's older or something. Maybe this was here before. They built these first, and the wrought iron's a little newer. But I think that looks really good. Just fences add so much detail, kind of automatically almost. Kind of continue. They had so much detail. They used to be worth plopping just like single pieces back with prop line tool, and you just sit there and make a fence. But now that we have prop line, it's crazy easy to do so much detail with fences. And ooh, it looks like I forgot some path over here. Just leave a gap, and I'll come back to that. Let's just continue here, just doing more and more fence. I know, again, scrolling through prop menus and placing fences is why you guys watch videos on YouTube, of course. They're the most exciting content that the web has to offer. So we can just now transition into the iron fence just to kind of match that. And actually, that's the wrong tool. There we go. That will help me kind of match the path a little better. And we'll just keep this right here really tight and just cut in right there. It's a little bit of a weird shape, but we can fill that with trees and everything just to make it look nice. So let's go in here. We can add some more fences, kind of cutting to the buildings, cutting around. You can just fence off the roads here. I guess maybe this is to prevent people from like walking up to the windows or something, but well, we're doing it. We can say it's to prevent people from walking up to the windows on the lower floors. So let's just break out this little area. We can fence all this stuff off, and ooh, I just realized I've like went in on myself like a bad game of Snake. Let's curve that like that and just cut it over. We can put some, yeah, it's like a dog area or something. So now we can jump over here and do a couple more just small pieces. And I think we'll be about done with a couple more blocks. I mean, I really don't want to fence this whole place off. And I know I say that as I'm like literally fencing this whole place off. Every single block, every single little tower, and every piece of green space has to be fenced all the way completely in, all the way to the road. No, let's not do all the way to the road. Let's just do back to the corner of this, because like the wall's already there. Kind of weird, different textures, like one fence going in that turns to concrete. Let's quickly jump in and fix this thing. Let's get anarchy on straight. Just connect this to the road and over here. And now I think with the power of move it, I'm just going to pull that back to get a nice little slope, and I'm gonna grab that and pull it over, and there we go. Nice little slanted section on each side, little artsy shape. Let's get some trees now. I've been talking to Mr. Mason, who made all these great trees, about kind of what exists in New York, and I know the privet's kind of new. The oak tree is definitely good. The southern live oak's a little too far south for which trees would exist here in the kind of climate that Gramercy would exist in. So let's fill this up with oak trees. I don't want too many of these huge ones. I mean, they look really good and they fill up a lot of space. Let's go and grab pines. There, London plane tree. I've been talking to Mr. Mason. These are apparently all over New York, and I cannot for the life of me identify trees. Let's just cover up some of these vanilla ones a little bit. They're so much worse. But apparently London plane tree is common around here. So already I like the way that looks from outside. Let's just fill in some of these gaps with more trees. Again, looking around, it's a little hard now because it's obviously no leaves on any trees. This will probably be, God, should I place trees? I probably will later. It's just some like awkward green space. Again, I live right next to this sort of thing in real life, so it exists. And yeah, looks good from up there. Just a couple more gaps that I need to fill in and grab. Now, let's grab some grass and just kind of start messing with the textures. Just kill the grass in a few spots a little bit. Because I don't think this area, especially if it's owned by the city, would be kept tremendously nice. So let's kill some grass. Just get some more little detailed texture in there. And there's some doors. Let's grab some tiles. I don't think those are the front doors for this building, at least I hope not. So we can pretend and make them like a sort of patio or something that this one building in particular has. So let's grab the texture, because we don't want those grass sprites showing through. That's weird. And God, now we need to clean up the road. No, we need to get rid of texture. There we go. I think that's good. So yeah, nice. It's just like a little tiled area, a little patio. And now we can go back to our grass and start killing the grass all over the rest of this little project. So I'm just going a little, maybe overboard on the decals. I don't know. I just want to put them there and there. No, actually that one overlapped the road too much. So there, all these different decals and things. Just got to get that like nice brown grass. Let's grab some of these for a little variation. Maybe this like extra stuff. And we'll go back into the park, and we'll stick some here. Just kind of really make sure everything's nice and decaled, just so we can get that really like beautiful up close. And of course the far away, and this side needs a few just to do that. And yeah, I like that. So over here I want to fill in more of this, but I don't want to do that this episode because I know that this is already a very long recording, just because we did all that area, which, I mean, just that. Doesn't feel like a lot, but it's progress. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do in here. It's a little weird, but I've got a couple of buildings already placed out. I need to continue that highway around, and, of course, down and fix it, and that'll go out to the city. These different entrances and things. Really kind of want to fill this in with, like, some more projects, some more similar housing. Obviously, the Navyyard was a lot bigger of a project, but So I think overall we're about done for this episode. So thank you very much for watching, and definitely subscribe if you want to see kind of the culmination of a lot of these projects, finishing up detailing stuff over here in the Navyyard and really kind of filling out this area, and of course building the rest of the city. So thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you next time.